Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of the Adventures of Mothgirl. As you can see, we're patiently waiting for the Blackrock Caverns queue, and as always there's one party member that doesn't accept. And in this case I think it's probably the healer just saying that you know, they're going to be there in a couple of seconds, so I can just finish this quest quickly and then re-queue. So that's probably exactly what he did, and he's making us wait. It's terrible of him. I thought in this little time here I'll quickly just tell you what I've been doing in World of Warcraft, that is. I just finished Vashir, the zone, and I gotta say it was pretty cool. The quests were, there was nothing really groundbreaking there. There were some really fun quests, but they were fun. That's pretty much it. There was a lot of interesting quests. The ones that stand out a lot to me are the ones that you did inside the big old god thing called Nispera, and the other one just like him, just it's a little more dead. But yeah, those were interesting, and I kind of enjoyed the Naga quests. They got irritating after a while, but it was cool seeing their visions of the past and controlling them and actually taking part in everything that was happening there. It was a good twist, you know. It was pretty interesting. The mechanics were quite cool. I mean, it wasn't that hard to control the actual Naga and to kill things with it and move around, and it looks like a lot of thought went into that. So it was pretty fun. I definitely enjoyed that. A few things I realized from the zone. One thing that irritated me a little bit was you couldn't get the Throne of the Tides quests until the very end of the zone. So if you wanted to, say you leveled very slowly, or you took your time in the zone maybe, and you sort of wanted to do all the quests, herb a lot, some PvP, stuff like that, then you'd probably end up being like level 82.5, nearly level 83, before you can actually do the quests in Throne of the Tides, and that's nearly out of its range on the looking for group finder, so that's pretty sad. Luckily we could find the Blackrock Caverns quests and get that immediately without doing any quest in Hyjal at all, so that's good. But here we're approaching one of the first bosses in the instance. That was actually not my bad there. I'm going to put that out there. That was the hunter's pet or something that pulled it. But this boss was pretty simple, pretty standard. It costs this chains, I think it's called Chains of WoW or something. And when it casts it, you've got to DPS the chains down as fast as possible because the entire party is caught up in it, and then you just got to run away from his AoE that is about to cast. And in normal mode, that's pretty much all the mechanics you need to know. He casts this quake thing, which I suppose does a bit of damage, but it's not really a big deal. There come the chains, and everyone is in range. They can immediately just start DPSing it, and then you just run away, and that's it. So you don't want the skull cracker to land on your head. I've been told that it one-shots people, or at least does a lot of damage. So when that's done, you just go back, DPS, and rinse and repeat. It's pretty simple. I assume on heroic modes the bosses are a lot more difficult and have a lot more actually to pay attention to and do there. But still pretty fun, and I like it that it's something we haven't seen before. So I won't complain about that. Otherwise, yeah, as I was saying, the quests. You got this quest. I'll actually put in right now. I'll put a map on and show you just after this boss. I'll put a map down and show you exactly where in Hyjal you can pick the quest up. It's straight up. You pick up the quest. It sends you straight to the dungeon. You don't need to do any quests, and no pre-quests, nothing like that, and you can immediately start doing Blackrock Caverns with the quests in it. And it's a great boost. Like, these quests give 60 or 70k XP, and it's really cool. So here's Raz smashing. This was a really good thing as well, because I mean, I really dislike trash. I would like an instance which just had a bunch of bosses in, and you could go from boss to boss and kill them. So it's really cool when a big mob just comes along and kills all the trash for you. And he does it while looking so cool as well. Anyway, so we're gonna watch him smash a bit here. Yes, indeed. It's glorious. And he always jumps, so I don't actually understand that. You'll see a little bit later on he does this huge leap, and it's like across the entire span of one of these big caverns, and just right over the boss's head and everything. It's quite good. So I did once again speed it up with the trash, because the trash is pretty boring. Another thing I realized here was that the trash actually... like this is now the normal version at least. You don't need to crowd control at all. My gear is not great. I don't have a single tank in talent at the moment. I actually, when I hit level 83, I picked up my first tank in talent. And here's another little innovation from Blizzard. You walk over these quest exclamation marks around the instance, and then it just starts another quest for you. So it's pretty cool. It's nice that it's like I said, it's how they did the old world dungeons, and it's nice to see that they did the new ones like that as well. But just like I said, the only problem I had with it was that dungeons like Throne of the Tides, you couldn't get the quest till you completed the entire Vashir. So pretty sad. But otherwise, I got totally sidetracked there. I was actually talking about what I was doing in Vashir. I liked the quests there. One thing I realized that was the quest hubs, you didn't stay very long in each quest hub. So if you really liked one of the zones or one of the questing areas, then the chances are you would probably not see that much of it. But I guess it's nice because they give you a lot of variety with that. You could actually sort of see all the different zones and sort of complete each of them in a decent amount of time. I thought I'd really dislike the underwater stuff, but it was pretty cool, and I think because I was a druid it was a lot better because I didn't have to mount up the whole time. Aquatic forms seemed to be exactly the same speed as the mounts. So here we've got another boss now. This is Korla, the Herald of Twilight. Basically what happens here is I just tank the boss wherever I want to, doing whatever I want to, nothing special for me. The DPS need to interrupt these beams. It's sort of like that dragon in Karazhan. You've got to interrupt the beam and keep it from going on the ad. So while you're in the beam's ray, then you got this counter, the debuff counter that goes up the whole time, and when you get to 80 debuffs you move out of the way and let it shine on the ad again, because if the ad's debuff counter reaches 100, then it'll transform into one of those big ads, those huge things with the axes, those really big ones. And that's obviously not optimal, so you stand out of the way till your debuff counter resets, and you can see our DPS are doing it beautifully here, no problem whatsoever. And this is actually one of the bosses that drops the winter hat, so by the time I upload this I think it's already too late, but you could have got your red or green winter hats at this boss. I actually got mine in Nexus Heroic. I had my girlfriend helped me out, and we just ran in there, killed the minimal amount of trash, and got the boss, that mage boss that splits into many images. That's the one. Anyway, I got that there, and I got the Merrymaker achievement. It was a bit of a hassle, but I got it anyway. So yeah, you could have picked that up here if you wanted to. But anyway, this instance I thought was pretty cool. It's sort of gives you a bit of nostalgia factor here, because it's a lot like the older instances that were in the Blackrock Mountains, and the people sort of, I don't know, a lot of people really enjoyed those, and I think Blackrock Spire was definitely underplayed. I don't even know if it's getting that much love right now. I mean, do any of you guys even queue for that when you still, like, I don't know if you've leveled characters recently, but I see that the level ranges are a lot lower, but you still end up doing it very, very close to Outland, so I don't know if it's really worth it. Yeah, you can let me know if you do any of those instances. I mean, I think the last instance I did was probably Sunken Temple, actually, because you obviously want to just get into Outland as fast as you can. So yeah, the instance itself, really cool. There was a lot of stuff that dropped here, of these blues that dropped off the trash. I think we had 3 random drops throughout this run, and nothing dropped for me, obviously. It just seems to be the case every single time. I did after this, which I didn't record, sadly. It was terrible anyway, because I don't think you wanted to see that. We had like this healer that kept like rolling on all the DPS spellcaster gear, because I mean, what does a healer want with hit rating? Tell me now. And there you go, I'm actually asking this guy if he's going to use it, because you've got to be so careful. People sometimes just ninja these items and throw them on the auction house, because they do sell for quite a bit, like 500, 600 gold. It's a nice bonus, you know, so we always make sure that they actually equip them and actually plan on using them. So, like in Throne of the Tides, I had this healer that kept rolling on the spellcaster gear, so the other guys and the DPS in the party were getting pretty pissed at that. And here comes Raz again. I was just about to say, like, what? Are we supposed to kill that group? And then, yeah, he sorted it out, no problem. But, yeah, so you always get those people that roll on the items that they shouldn't. I mean, I can do that too. I can, as a tank, I can go and roll on all the leather DPS gear, all the, well, as a druid at least, the spell power gear, every single weapon, spell power, damage, whatever, even the daggers, okay? I can even roll on the DPS, the melee DPS daggers. I can roll on them if I want to, but I mean that's just not how you do it. If you, I personally, I mean it's a bit of a rant, but personally I think that if you queue as a DPS, you can roll on the DPS gear. And okay, let's just talk about this for a second here. Look how foolish I was. I just stand here tanking it, not realizing the boss has come. Oh, there's the boss, and that's it. Nice one, the guy tells me. I mean, I can't really fault to him there because he's sort of right. I mean, that was pretty silly of me. So I pulled the boss prematurely. That was my bad. We wiped here. Needless to say, it didn't work out too well, but we got it right the second time. So there's us being clever. We threw up a combat res, and we waited for the stuff to reset and the mobs to move away, and then I accepted it. I also like this little, I don't know if you call it a mechanic, but this little effect here of the conflagration, moving around the circle there and lighting up all those little, what is that? I don't actually know what they are. They're solidified slimes, and it looks really cool. I really got to say the effects were top-notch there, 100%. So I'll explain this boss to you in a second, but I just wanted to close the previous point I was talking about. I mean, I think if you queue as a tank, you roll on the tanking gear. If you want to get something off spec, you do that, but that's if no one else wants it. That's my take on the matter. I really don't like the fact that some people come into an instance, say I've had a druid before that does it. They come into the instance and they roll on every single item, like, you know, I could use the spell power gear someday, who knows, I might not need it right now, but I'll roll on it anyway. I mean, that's really irritating. So yeah, that's just what I think about it. I'm sure a lot of you guys agree, but those are my feelings. So here we actually just been a bit more patient. We're waiting for this elemental to come back around, pulling it again, and I'm pulling it all the way up the stairs. It seems to work out a lot better, so that's a little tip for you guys there. You don't even get any of the ads if you pull it all the way up here, so easy, no problem. And on a side note, actually I wanted to tell you about the macros and my hotkey system that I was using, because I did work on it a little bit since this video at least. So here it's slightly silly looking, and that's another irritating thing. Like, I ask about the boss's tactics and the guy gives me 3 dots. Like, okay, that helps me so much. I know exactly how to do the boss now, but he did tell me afterwards, so he redeemed himself. So this boss, you gotta, I mean, I don't know why, but I just did it anyway. He told me what to do, so I did it. Karsh Steelbender, hello man, you got a big axe. So you got to move him into the fire for 3 stacks and then out again. I wasn't the most accurate here because I think I got him in for like 5 stacks, then 4 stacks, and then I think I got him once on 3. But I did it, so 3 stacks in, and then I assume that the DPS on him is a lot more because I was hitting for quite big shots here. Anyway, you move him in for 3 stacks into that pillar of fire. You move him out again when the stacks disappear, when the debuff disappears. You move him back in, rinse and repeat. And I think another thing is you just stay out of that circle. As you can see, the circle lights up, and there's a lot of flames there. So I think if you're in there, you're probably going to take some damage. Otherwise, pretty simple fight, straightforward, and he dies incredibly fast. So not really a problem. And there again, I love it that the quests just start when you complete the objective. They start. And how is it that there's always one guy in the party that seems to get every single piece of loot? That, like, here's this hunter here that gets this dagger, then we walk like 3 steps further, then another dagger drops off a trash mob, and then he's like, oh wow, that completes my set. Oh, lucky me. And then he gets that dagger too. And there's always that one guy. I mean, you hate him, but like you really wish you were him, because it's so lucky, and it must make the leveling so fun if you got that great gear. And you know, it's just bad. Anyway, so we're going to continue here and get some more trash pulled and continue clearing this. But oh yes, the hotkeys and the macros. Okay, so I had a guy on YouTube send me a private message, disasters. If you're listening, thank you very much, because I didn't use your specific macros, but I used the idea and I used it on 1 or 2 skills. So I don't have it set up here yet, but after this video I actually did set it up. And I used only a few of them. Like I know I got Stampeding Raw on level 80, 3, and a really cool skill, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the macro now, okay? So I set up the macro that I could use one button for the cat and bear form version of it, so that really helped out a lot. And I know that his macros that he sent me, they sort of just basically explained that like you can use it in different stances for the same skill. It's very cool. I think warriors do the same thing. I'm not sure, but it will, if I do set it up on all my buttons, which I plan on doing sometime soon. It'll definitely help out a lot and save a lot of space. So thank you again, Disasters. It's I appreciate it a lot. Anyway, there are a bunch of skills. Like I mean, like Druid. I don't know if people are complaining about AOE, because right now Druid tanking AOE is ridiculous. There's that dagger I was talking about, but it's ridiculous. I've got the swipe. I've got Thrash. If I throw Berserk down, then I can, with Mangle, I can hit 3 nearby enemies. I mean, that's ridiculous already. Mangle does such crazy damage. And then there's Maul. If you use the Glyph, which I do, then you can hit multiple enemies as well. And I mean, like, what? That is just so much AoE damage, and people actually complain about that stuff. Oops, I just jumped out of bear form there, and I don't think anyone realized. I do that quite often because, as I said before, my keys are slightly all over the place, so every now and then I miss the key, and I'm not totally used to them yet, so I miss the keys, and then it sort of changes me out back to normal form, and then, yeah, that's, needless to say, not a good thing. So here's the next boss, and this is very reminiscent of Molten Core, because you've got Beauty at the back there, and Spot, and Lucky, and Buster, and you just basically, this is a straightforward fight. You kill the babies, you stand out of the fire. That guy said it quite nicely there, but anyway, you move out of the fire, and the rest is quite straightforward. You just tank it. I think the boss also fears, and it's very straightforward. Otherwise, I did realize one little thing here, which I was pretty sad about actually. Like, you know, there's one little baby back at the back, in the back corner of the room. You can probably see him right now there, over the shoulder of Beauty. His name is Runty, and we didn't get to kill him. And he's like, he is really being the runt of the litter, because he's just sitting all the way at the back there. And I'm pretty sure that every single group that comes by here probably ignores him. And I mean, I don't want to say it's mean not killing the little guy, but shame. I mean, you've got to show him give him a little bit of attention at least. He's just sitting back there, and he's like back behind those bones and mangled flesh, and he's like watching his entire family getting mangled. I mean, he must feel a little bit left out. So I don't know, if you guys do this instance again, maybe you should just go in there and give Runty a bit of a pounding, because I just think that he deserves it and he needs it, you know. Shame. There he is. This one's for Runty, guys. Anyway, so the loot that dropped here, as you can see, the fight's pretty straightforward. The loot that dropped here, not so special. I was once again just a bit unlucky. This is for one of the quests, actually. You've got to kill Beauty, and the quests actually didn't give me anything either, which I was pretty sad about. I mean, it's like 3 quests that give blue items, and each quest gives 3 items, so that's 9 items, and not one of them was leather DPS, melee DPS gear. So I was pretty disappointed right there. If Blizzard wanted any input, which I don't think they want from me, but I would say that you could at least give each spec 1 item. I didn't get a single thing here, so that's pretty silly. But I did get something in Throne of Tides, so I'm pretty happy about that, at least. I think I got a chest there, a leather chest, so that's cool. And there's Runty. Oh, Runty, goodbye, boy. So then we're carrying on. Yeah, so the last boss, you'll see him soon. I gotta say, I like these elemental models. I know I'm blabbering a bit here, but these elemental models do look really cool, and it's to me a vast improvement over like the standard elementals that we saw in the previous room, which were walking around that circle, the conflagrations, whatever. Sorry, I'm saying that totally wrong, but it's a big improvement on them. These ones look really good and very detailed. So I also like that you had the option to skip a lot of trash here. That sort of makes me happy, because you know, it's sort of a double-edged blade, because if you do skip the trash, you got the chance of one of your party members being really silly and sort of shimmying into them, or like I don't know, accidentally standing a little bit too close, or letting their pet run into them, or whatever, you know, just it happens that you pull them. So you're taking a bit of a chance, but it's I like the fact that you have the option of taking that chance, so that's good. We did skip quite a bit of trash. So here's the last boss, and I was like, what? Again? So many ads? And then never fails, Raz Smash. He just jumps up in there and sorts these ads out for us. Once again, I ask for the tactics. Kill whatever easy boss. I mean, that's like, once again, such nice explanations from these guys. I'm not gonna complain, but I mean, it works. So basically, in this boss, I mean, I did figure it out after he said it. The DPS is the one that has to do the work here. They have to tank the 2 ads, well, sort of kite the 2 ads. Yeah, the kite is the right word. Kite the 2 ads away from Ascendant Lord Obsidius. So as you can see, the hunter at the side there, I was watching him quite closely because I sort of want to know everything that's going on. It's good to be able to know. So he kites the ads away from the boss, and then the boss will morph into one of the other ads, take his place, and then rinse and repeat. Basically, it's a very simple mechanic, but it's quite hard to do. I think, as I said, the DPS sort of are under a lot of pressure here, the one that does that, because it's not an easy thing to do, kiting 2 elites. I'm going to assume that they don't do as much damage, because, like, I'm going to just guess that in heroic mode this must be a real hassle if they one-shot you. I don't know how it works, I haven't done it in heroic, obviously. So there you go, he just jumps into one of the other ads, then I just charge over there, because I think charging is really cool and it gets all the chicks. So if you're a druid tank, charge as much as you can, because it just works. And then you charge over to him and start killing that one. So it's pretty simple. Once again, and I do think that the mechanics, like I said, really fun, and they make the boss fights a lot more involving now. So I'm pretty sure in heroic they add like 1 or 2 different mechanics to each fight extra to make it that much harder. So it must be a lot more interesting. I'm gonna do these on heroic as well, and I'll try actually like upload 1 video of every single dungeon on heroic. They might end up being a little bit long, but I'll do it anyway. It's like I'll do it for you guys, no problem. Okay, so there's a bit of loot there, a bit of loot that I really don't want, and here's a lot of like sort of wondering, should I roll on this hourglass so that my girlfriend can get it? She's actually, that's her alt over there, named Jelly Bear, and I was considering it, and then I was like, nah, and then I was like, yeah maybe, and I was like, nah. And like, yeah, I wasn't really very sure. So in the end I didn't, and she won it anyway, so everyone was happy. That's good. There you go. Happy ending. So I said thanks, I left the party, and we were out of there. So I'm going to try to do more videos of the instance runs. I'm now level 83, and we just entered Uldum, and I must say that's a really cool zone. I would love to upload like every single quest that I do in there, because they all seem so fun, and there are so many, like, my favorite quest line thus far is Harrison Jones. Like, hands down, I love seeing Harrison Jones. Those quests are just so good. And that if you didn't know, it's like sort of a spin-off of Indiana Jones, and the quests are just so Indiana Jonesy. Like, if you watch the movies, then you'll feel right at home doing those quests. But like I said, I'm gonna try get some more interesting stuff done. I would love to do some of the quests and stuff, but I just don't know, like, questing just takes a long time to do some really minor stuff. I find instance runs and stuff like that are a lot more informative, and they can be a lot more fun. So anyway, that's it for Mothgirl episode 6. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to be working on number 7 next weekend again, and yeah, like the video, favorite it, all that stuff, and thanks again for the comments and all the support, guys. Enjoy! P.S. If you can hear a lot of clicking in this video, then that's my girlfriend's incredibly loud SteelSeries Xi that's making a lot of noise, so try ignore that. Sorry.